Hello kids! A happy and healthy day to our beloved learners. We are here again to discuss our lesson in our subject English 6. Are you ready, children? Yes? Well, let us now start. I want you to recall the different terms you encountered from our previous lesson. Identify the term described in each item. It is a prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. For number 1, that is propaganda. It means incorrect or not true. For number 2, the answer is biased. It is the ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. For number 3, the answer is judgment. Look at this image. What is that all about? Yes, two girls who are telling their prepared activities during their leisure time. One enjoys watching movies, while the other one loves reading books. And based on that, our lesson for today is distinguishing printed materials from viewing materials. Now kids, listen to this. Mrs. Rivera conducted a quick survey in her English class. She asked her pupils to choose between watching movies and reading books as their prepared activity during their leisure time. The result of pre-survey is shown in the table. Mrs. Rivera found out that 15 out of 20 or 75% of the boys love watching movies, while 5 out of 20 or 25% love reading books. On the other hand, she found out that 8 out of 20 or 40% of the girls love watching movies, while 12 out of 20 or 60% love reading books. With these results, Mrs. Rivera concluded that most of her pupils who are boys are into watching movies, while most girls among her pupils are into reading books during their leisure time. If you were Mrs. Rivera's pupil, what activity would you prepare to do for your leisure time? Would it be watching movies or reading books? Watching movies and reading books are activities that make use of our sense of sight. Books are classified as printed materials, while movies are classified as viewing materials. Printed materials consist of all written materials which convey planned course of information. Many print have digital versions that can be accessed online. Examples of printed resources include, but are limited to, textbooks, workbooks, reference books, magazines, newspapers, and journals. Let's have some of these examples. Number 1, a book is a set of written, printed, illustrated, or blank sheet made of ink, paper, parchment, or other materials fastened together to hinge at one side. Books contain information, stories, or poetry. Number 2, magazine, also called periodical, a printed or digitally published collection of texts like essays, articles, stories, poems, photographs, and advertisements, often illustrated, that is produced at regular intervals excluding newspapers. And number 3, a newspaper is a paper that is printed and distributed usually daily and weekly and contains news, articles of opinion, features, and advertisements. It is usually printed on relatively inexpensive, low-grade paper such as newsprints. Now, let's move on viewing materials. Viewing materials are visual in nature. Visual materials encompass various forms, including photographs, video films, videotapes, paintings, drawings, and etc. Let's focus on the following examples. First, a film, also known as a movie or a motion picture, is a series of moving images shown on a screen, usually with sound that make up a story. It is a form of entertainment that enacts a story by sound and a sequence of images giving the illusion of continuous movement. Films are similar to novels or short stories since they also tell a story or show real situations. They are recorded so they can be shown at the cinema or on television. Number 2, a television program, also called a television show. It is a segment of content intended for broadcast on television. It may be a one-time production or a part of periodically recurring series. And number 3, a video is a program, movie, or other visual media product featuring moving images, with or without audio, that is recorded, reproduced, broadcasted, and saved digitally in a flash drive, external drive, CD, or in the computer. Now to sum up what we have talked, let us read this table. Viewing materials examples are films or movies, television shows, and videos. In viewing materials, we use viewing and listening skills to understand their message. They use moving features or images. They are accompanied by sound effect. They have opening billboard. They have closing billboard and credits and etc. They have time duration. And characters have dialogues and scripts. Printed materials. Examples are books, newsletter, magazines, journals, and etc. In printed materials, we use reading skills to understand their message. They use still pictures or images to support the text. They have no sound effects. They have cover, title page, body, end page, and etc. They have no time restriction. Readers may read them back and forth for as long as they want, and they use printed text to deliver their message to the readers. Are there also common between the two? Yes, of course. They give bits of information. They both give entertainment. They both teach lessons. And they both require the use of sense of sight. Are there things a reader or a viewer must consider in order to get the right information or right entertainment? Yes, some sources are deceptive and contain wrong information. Some advertisements do not suit the age of the viewers or the readers that need a parental guidance. That is why it is important to see to it that we have the right sources in getting information. Alright, this time let's have an activity, and this is the direction. Have you read a fairy tale with a movie adaptation? Now, compare and contrast the written story with its movie adaptation by putting a check mark in the column that corresponds to its characteristics. I will give you 20 seconds to answer. Twenty seconds is over. Let's check your answers now. For number 1, it uses moving pictures to aid understanding. And that is movie. Let's move on to number 2. It is told with audio narration and accompanied by sound effects. The answer is movie. Let's move on to number 3. It has an opening billboard, closing billboard, and credits, etc. The answer is movie. Let's move on to number 4. Its story is understood through reading. That is storybook. For number 5, it gives lessons. Storybook and movie. Let's move on to number 6. It has songs or soundtracks. The answer is movie. For number 7, it can be repeatedly read in pages. The answer is storybook. Number 8. It tells a story, storybook and movie. Let's move on to number 9. It is written and published. That is storybook. And number 10, it is handy. That is storybook and movie. Did you get them all? Oh wow! That's great! Now, I want you to recall the key concepts presented in this lesson by completing the following statements with the correct word. And for your final assessment, I want you to identify the characteristics of viewing and printed material described in each situation. Choose the correct answers inside the box. For your assignment, look for a television show and a magazine that feature health and wellness. Compare and contrast the content of both materials. And this is where our lesson ends. I hope you have learned a lot. I am Teacher Rachel Rivera. Have a good day. God bless you.